This is a Nervous Chuckles production. Hey!
I'm reviewing here!
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here! Well, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yes, a podcast where I, Matthew Wesley, watch and review sight and sound top greatest movies of all time. Why is GarageBand... Oh, I clicked on the wrong button. Hold on. Does that affect... Can you still hear me? Hello? Hello? Cool. I hope that you're all doing really, really well today. It is almost halfway through the year when this episode comes out. Holy banana boobs. Damn. And I'm traveling soon. Woo! So excited. I know I sound like such a loser talking about myself to nobody. But I'm down. I'm down. I'm excited. That's what I meant to say. Why I always try to sound like a hippie because I always think it sounds sexy to sound like a hippie, but it doesn't really sound sexy to sound like a hippie. If you're not a hippie trying to sound sexy, talking like a hippie sounding sexy. Okay? So shut up. Just kidding. Hi. Okay. Let's get started, shall we? Today is a very crazy-ass movie, and I'm very excited to talking about it. This is a short film. I think it's only the second short film that I've reviewed so far on this podcast. The first one was Wavelength, I think, which I did not enjoy for the life of me. I'm really, really sorry. That was the Canadian-made movie where it was only like 20 minutes long, but the entire movie was just a close-up of this like window, and then really, really loud noises like the entire time. The movie today is not like that. The movie today is a more famous movie, and if you go to film school, it's required that you watch it. You know, like, when, like, you join a frat, you have to, you know, do stuff. Yeah, well, basically, I forget what the word is. I didn't join a frat. I really wish I did. That would have totally boosted my self-confidence. But frats also kind of scare the crap out of me. We've all seen Old School. I don't want to do any of the things in that movie, but that is just a movie. It's fake. Okay, the movie today is, are you ready? Now it has two titles. The American title is An Andalusian Dog, but the real title, which you should call it, is Un Chien Andalou. This movie, it's a short film. It's very old. It's silent. It came out in 1929. It's in black and white. It was directed by Luis Buñuel. Now, I recently reviewed his film, The Exterminating Angel. Yes. Now, he is most famous, in my honest opinion, for Un Chien Andalou. He also co-wrote this with Salvador Dalí. Yes, the real Salvador Dalí, the surrealist painter that we've all studied if you ever took art history class. He's so good. I love art history. It is amazing. It should be taught in schools, elementary schools, preschools, daycare, pregnant women to the babies in the womb. People should teach them. Yeah, I love it. I think it's so cool. Anyway, this is a very artsy film. It is also a very twisted film. It makes no sense, and it's not supposed to make any sense. And I think it is phenomenal. Now, again, it's okay to not understand it when you first see this movie. It's okay to watch it and nervously chuckle, like I usually say. It's okay to. You're meant to. You're meant to. This movie, I'll get into why it is considered to be so famous, even though it is batshit and disturbing and visceral and surreal and twisted and so many things. But I will just say there is a shot in this movie that is so iconic, and if you know movies a little bit, you may actually recognize this shot. If you know movies, you know Un Chien Andalou, you should know it. But there is a shot of this woman. She looks very stoic. She looks very calm, and there is a guy holding her eye open, and then he's holding the scalpel, razor, or is this a scalpel? Wait. Is this a scalpel? No, it's a razor. It's a razor. I'm sorry. He's holding her eye open, and then he's holding this razor to her eye, and it's just a shot, but it's like, wait, what's he gonna do? And as you'll see in the movie, he does cut her eye. Now, he slices her eyelid open. Don't be disturbed. It wasn't actually her eye. It was an animal instead. I mean, that's still really sad, but that is the most famous shot in the movie, and it's become an iconic shot of cinema. Why, though? Why that shot? Why is this movie still being talked about years later? I mean, this is turning 100 in 5 years. I mean, and people will be talking about it forever. You know, Luis Buñuel, again, he was something. And Un Chien Andalou, it will disturb you. It will make you laugh. It will make you feel like you're smoking crack cocaine. It will make you feel like you are just in a dream/nightmare that you cannot get out of, but you kind of want to stay there despite all the crazy, creepy, bizarre imagery. Oh man, this is great. I love talking about it. You know, I'm 33, and I even with my film friends, I don't ever talk about Un Chien Andalou, but that's going to change now.
Plots and ups.
So it's crazy. This is a short film. It's 20 minutes long, 21 minutes long, and so much happens in this short amount of time. Okay. Un Chien Andalou opens with a title card reading, Once Upon a Time, il était une fois. A man, played by Luis Buñuel himself, sharpens his razor at his balcony door and tests the razor on his thumb. He then opens the door and idly fingers the razor while gazing at the moon, about to be bisected by a thin cloud from his balcony. There is a cut to a close-up of a young woman, played by actress Simone Moret, I think is how you say her name, being held by the man. This is the image I'm talking about. She calmly stares straight ahead as he brings the razor near her eye. Another cut occurs to the cloud passing in front of the moon, then a cut to a close-up of a hand slitting the eye of an animal with the razor, which happens so quickly the viewer may believe it was the woman's eye. And the vitreous humor, is that what it's called? Ew, oh, it's part of the eye, spills out from it. So, okay, and watching this movie, you can tell, obviously, that was not the woman's eye. Thank God you can't tell that it was an animal. But right away, what the friggity fuck? WTFs. Yeah, weird. Already, though, that shot, you know that you're in for a crazy, wild ride. The subsequent title card reads, 8 years later, a slim young man, played by actor Pierre Batchev bicycles down a calm urban street wearing what appears to be a nun's habit and a striped box with a strap around his neck. A cut occurs to the young woman from the first scene who has been reading in a sparsely furnished upstairs apartment. She hears the young man approaching on his bicycle and casts aside the book she was reading. She goes to the window and sees the young man lying on the curb, his bicycle on the ground. She emerges from the building and attempts to revive the young man. That was weird. Later, the young woman assembles pieces of the young man's clothing on a bed in the upstairs room and concentrates upon the clothing. The young man appears near the door. The young man and the young woman stare at his hand, which has a hole in the palm from which ants emerge. Ants. Real live ants. They scare the crap out of me. A slow transition the other day, really quickly, I was watching I think it was a TikTok, or it may have been an Instagram reel. I came up of a snake falling into this huge ant farm, and all the ants attack it and kill it. So terrifying. Excuse me. A slow transition occurs, focusing on the armpit hair of the young woman as she lies on the beach and a sea urchin at a sandy location. Sorry, for some reason, sea urchin, I thought that meant seal, and that does not. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. There is a cut to an androgynous young woman with bobbed hair and dressed in rather masculine attire in the street below the apartment. She pokes at a severed human hand with her cane while surrounded by a large crowd held back by policemen. Severed hand. Do you remember the severed hand I was telling you about in The Exterminating Angel? Yeah, Luis Buñuel is obsessed with that. The crowd clears when the policeman places the hand in the box previously carried by the young man and gives it to the young woman. The androgynous young woman, so not the young woman, the androgynous one, contemplates something happily while standing in the middle of the now busy street clutching the box. She's then run over by a car and a few bystanders gather around her. Oh, the music in this scene was so good. The young man and the young woman watch these events unfold from the apartment window. The young man seems to take sadistic pleasure in the androgynous young woman's danger and subsequent death, and as he gestures at the shocked young woman in the room with him, he leers at her and gropes her breasts. And while he's groping her breasts, it's through her dress, but then it's the same shot and it cross cuts into her actual bare breasts and he's rubbing them and it's so disturbing. The young woman, and this is 1929. Okay, this is 1929. This movie was released in 1929. That was shocking. Yeah. The young woman resists him at first, but then allows him to molest her as he imagines her nude from the front and the rear. Yeah, I told you, it's crazy. The young woman pushes him away as he drifts off, and she attempts to escape by running to the other side of the room. The young man corners her as she reaches for a raquet in self-defense, but he suddenly picks up two ropes and drags two grand pianos containing dead and rotting donkeys, stone tablets containing the Ten Commandments, two pumpkins, and two rather bewildered priests, who were attached by the ropes. What? As he is, remind me to never do that again. As he is unable to pursue, the young woman escapes the room. The young man chases after her, but she traps his hand, which is infested with ants, in the door. She finds the young man in the next room, dressed in his nun's garb, in the bed. What in the hell? The subsequent title card reads, around 3 a.m. The young man is roused from his nest by the sound of a door buzzer ringing. And this is represented visually by a martini shaker being shaken by a set of arms through two holes in a wall. The young woman goes to answer the door and does not return. Another young man, whom we see only from behind, dressed in lighter clothing, arrives in the apartment, gesturing angrily at him. I will never until the day I die be able to say that word. Gesture. The second young man forces the first one to throw away his nun's clothing and then makes him stand with his face to the wall as if in disgrace. So it's like he's like a child all of a sudden in trouble. The subsequent title card reads, 16 years ago. Wow. We see the second young man's face for the first time. And it's played by the same actor, Pierre Batchev, as he admires the art supplies and books on the table near the wall and forces the first young man to hold two of the books as he stares at the wall. The first young man eventually shoots the second young woman when the books abruptly turn into revolvers. The second young man, now in a meadow, dies while swiping at the back of a nude female figure which suddenly disappears into thin air. A group of men come and carry his corpse away. Guys, I'm not making any of this up. I swear to you. I'm not this inventive. Come on. But thank you if you thought that I was. Yeah. The young woman returns to the apartment and sees a death's head moth. That is like the moth from The Silence of the Lambs, that poster. Yeah, they exist. So cool. The first young man sneers at her as she retreats and wipes his mouth off his face with his hand. The young woman very nervously applies some lipstick in response. Subsequently, the first young man makes the young woman's armpit hair attach itself to where his mouth would be on his face through gestures. The young woman looks at the first young man with disgust and leaves the apartment, sticking her tongue out at him. Armpit hair. Ugh. Armpit hair. Ants. Really disturbing, aberrant sexuality. Oh my god, this movie is just bonker bananas. BB, as she exits her apartment, the street is replaced by a coastal beach where the young woman meets a third man with whom she walks arm in arm. He shows her the time on his watch, and they walk near the rocks where they find the remnants of the first young man's nun's clothing and the box. They seem to walk away clutching each other happily and make romantic gestures in a long tracking shot. However, the film abruptly cuts to the final shot with the title card reading, "In Spring," showing the couple buried in beach sand up to their elbows, motionless and perhaps dead. It's so creepy. And then, my friends, it's over. The end. What does it all mean? What's the story? Who are these people? Is this all a dream? Is it all a nightmare? Guys, I don't know. Now, is it pretentiously done? You might think it is. I don't know what... Some people find things pretentious and I laugh in their face. I'm like, how? I don't... That is a big question. What makes a movie pretentious? I think a movie is pretentiously done when it doesn't really seem to have an audience in mind. A movie is pretentiously done when it feels like it was made by the director for the director. You know, there's a lot of movies like that. I won't name them by heart. I won't name them off the top of my head. But this is not really made... I mean, it is kind of made for the director, but at the same time, it's not like... What Luis Buñuel is trying to do is he's playing with the camera, he's playing with editing, he's playing with imagery, he's making a movie intentionally that is supposed to be bananas. And he's kind of, there's this joyful feel to Un Chien Andalou. You know, he is having so much fun with it. Now, why does that make the movie so good? Because, you guys, this was one of the first movies, if not the first movie, to go so freaking far and push all boundaries with its content and its shock value and everything. That is why it is a classic until the end of days. It will forever be a classic. This was the first film, in my opinion, that really went, oh my God, like, look at this. Like, and we can make anything artistic, you know, anything, you know, and film is really new right now. Let's play with it. Let's take it places that people would not dare to go. And that's exactly what Luis Buñuel and Salvador Dalí do in this film. And it is crazy. It's weird. It is an experience unlike anything. And, you know, I don't like watching this on my computer. I don't. This movie, to really understand its impact, it's like you have to see it on the big screen. You really do. And I can only, I take it back. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be living in 1929. You go to the movies and you see this film. I cannot even imagine. Why do I keep saying that wrong? What am I trying to say? It just must have been so bizarre when this movie came out. It must have been so shocking when this came out. And I hope I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying my best to explain how with cinema, I say this all the time, you don't need to follow the rules in cinema, you know, when you're making movies. You don't need to have a full story. You don't need to have fully likable characters. You don't need to have a beginning, middle, and an end. You don't need to do anything. You can make it whatever you want. Sometimes it'll come out great. Sometimes it'll be a total disaster. It's an experiment, cinema, you know. Un Chien Andalou, the entire thing is one huge experiment with you know, art and imagery and making one of the most surreal cinematic experiences ever. And it's an experiment that is so daring that it deserves attention. And you can understand why film critics and filmmakers galore, why they love and appreciate what Buñuel did in this film. BTS Secrets and Scandals! Oh, crap. I just realized I have to put cashews. Oh, god damn it. I have to go and put cashews in hot water, and they have to rest for an hour. And it's late, and I didn't do that! It's okay. This movie is so worth it. Guys, this movie, BTS Secrets and Scandals, here we go. So, the eye in the beginning, no, it was not that actress's real eyeball. That would be depraved. It was the eye of a dead calf. You only see the close-up of the eye, though, and it is pretty quick. But, so Luis Buñuel did say this quote about how to shoot the movie. He said, quote, "Do not dwell on what required purely rational, psychological, or cultural explanations. Open the way to the irrational." This movie really is like a deep dive into the human psyche, you know, like the subconscious mind. This is a movie that camera goes so far deep into Buñuel and Dalí's imagination that it's okay that it doesn't make sense, because the brain doesn't make sense. We don't know anything about the brain. We barely know anything about the brain, you know? So I love that quote so much. Open the way to the irrational. Another great quote by Buñuel regarding this film is, quote, "Nothing in Un Chien Andalou symbolizes anything. The only method of investigation of the symbols would be, perhaps, psychoanalysis." So this is what I also love about the movie, is that, you know, he doesn't provide any answers. He doesn't do that. He gives all these, he presents all these images, and he allows you, the viewer, to try to decipher it. The title of the film, An Andalusian Dog, it's from a Spanish saying that goes, "An Andalusian dog howls. Someone has died." Cool. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of sad, a little dark. In Buñuel's original script, the final shot was to feature the corpses of the man and woman, quote, "consumed by swarms of flies." But they didn't have the budget to do that, so they ended it with the man and the woman on the beach. I think it's fine. That last shot is so eerie. The film was shot in 10 days in Le Havre and Paris. It was financed by Buñuel's own mother. That's very sweet. I don't really know if this is a good Mother's Day movie. When is Mother's Day? Oh, it passed already. No, did it pass? Is it coming up? Crap, I don't remember. Buñuel and Dalí, Buñuel told Salvador Dalí about a dream in which a cloud sliced the moon in half, quote, "like a razor blade slicing through an eye." Dalí responded that he dreamt about a hand crawling with ants. Out of these two dreams, this film was born. What an inspiration. I love dreams. I think dreaming is so fascinating. I mean, it's scary, but wow. The inspiration. I had a crazy dream. Let's make a movie about it. I had a crazy dream too. Let's combine the dreams and make a movie about it. It's not going to make any sense, but let's just do it and play around with it. Wow, that is really cool. Salvador Dalí also has a cameo in this film. He plays the priest that is being dragged with the piano. I didn't really notice that, but I do recognize Dalí. He's got those like whisker mustaches, that like whisker mustache. Yeah. Legend has it that the severed hand used in the street scene was a real hand, and Dalí convinced a man to cut it off in exchange for enough money to buy lunch. I think it's just a legend, urban legend. At the Paris premiere, Buñuel hid behind the screen with stones in his pockets for fear of being attacked by the confused audience. So he was going to like throw stones at people if they attacked him, basically. Nothing of the sort happened. In fact, the audience loved its mysterious and incomprehensible plot. That's good. This is sad. Both the main stars of the film, Pierre Batcheff and Simone Moret, committed suicide. Well, one of them definitely did commit suicide, after the film's release. Batcheff, the man, he died of an overdose at age 24. But I read some different reports. Some said that he intentionally overdosed, but some say that it may have been accidental. So I'm just going to say that he tragically died. But Moret, this is crazy. She was 55. She went to a public square and she lit herself on fire, self-immolation, and died. It's just nuts. It's so nuts. Yeah, but that's true. Oh, I didn't mean to end it that morbidly. I'm sorry. The best moment. I mean, every image in this film is memorable and amazing and shocking and crazy and beautiful and twisted. I think the best moment, though, is the scene of the man dragging the two pianos and there are these dead donkeys on top and these dead priests. I mean, it's like, who thought up of that? Who thought up of that? Who thought up of that imagery? It's so cool. Buñuel and Dalí. Yeah, that is my favorite shot, my favorite moment, hands down.
Mais est-ce que je suis d'accord avec les critiques de ce film?
The critics, obviously, understand and believe that this movie is on crack. Bob Baker of Time Out said on CHIEN ANDALOU, its documentary rendering of the dream state, of dream logic, and or a contrivance by two ambitious young Spaniards to offer as much outrageousness as an artistic alibi can cover. Wait, I said that wrong. I did not word that correctly. Okay, it's a documentary rendering of the dream state, of dream logic, or it's a contrivance by two ambitious young Spaniards to offer as much outrageousness as an artistic alibi can cover. Look, I think it's a little bit of both. The latter thing about, it's just two guys being silly and being crazy and obnoxious and outrageous. It may have not worked. In a lot of cases, it may have not worked. People may not think it works. I think it works. I think it really works. This is, again, it's an experiment that really paid off. Christopher Knoll from filmcritic.com called the movie an introduction to the power of the irrational and to the concept that art could exist for its own sake. That's why people love this movie so much. It really is. There's freedom in the movie, There's freedom everywhere, in every crevice, in every shot, every frame. So much of it. This is why people want to make movies, because of this one. This is a movie that is so freeing and does what it wants, Mike Massey of Gone with the Twins said that the movie is so freakish and routinely inscrutable that its imagery is alternately scary, obscene, dramatic, and hilarious. I agree. I concur. Roger Ebert, he loved this movie. He said, a movie like this is a tonic. What does tonic mean? I don't know. I just bought tonic water? Yeah, I just bought tonic water today. Vodka tonics, I want to get into them more. They're good. I don't have a drinking problem, don't worry. The movie assaults old and unconscious habits of moviegoing. It is disturbing, frustrating, and maddening. It does. It is an assault. It is a visual assault. Assault in film terms, though, isn't always a bad thing, my friends. Sometimes it is very pleasing.
Is it really one of the best movies of all time?
I would say so 100%. Absolutely, I would say so. I think, even the fact that it's a short film, I think that makes it all the more effective. If this was long, it may have been too much, it may have been too much of an assault. It may have been too much. But the fact that it's a short film, it manages to just be absolutely perfect. It manages to get its point across. It manages to just fulfill you with so many images, and it's just perfect. It's perfect. The quantity of images and everything in this film, the quantity of outrageous moments with shocking moments, it's perfect. And this movie, again, I mean, this is a staple in filmmaking. This is a movie that inspires other people to just grab a camera and film whatever the hell they want, because they can, because film is film. Film is art. Art is freedom. Mic drop. All right, cool. Thank you all for tuning in. I got to go put hot water on cashews, but no context. I'm just doing it for fun. No, I'm making a meal tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you next time. In the meantime, we'll go see this movie. And also, get your ass off the couch and go to the goddamn movies, okay? I don't care if you hurt your foot. When you walk to the theater, rest your foot on the seat in front of you, because it's hot now. So if you get a matinee, not a lot of people are going to the movies. So you can go, because everybody goes to the beach and they go on vacation. So now's your chance. Okay, you can go when nobody else is there. Because also, if you don't like a lot of people in the movie theater, it's okay. Because if you go now, there aren't going to be enough people there. So it's good. It'll be nice and quiet. People won't be loud. People won't spill popcorn or laugh at obnoxious parts or have sex in the theater near you. It's all good, okay? Do it. Cool. Bye. Peace out. Boom! Oh, you made it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at I'm Reviewing Here. You can also subscribe on YouTube. New episodes drop there the same day they drop on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review if you'd like. Be mean, be nice, hit on me. I don't really care. Candor really, really is important to me, and, it helps the podcast too. So I really hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is brought to you especially by Nervous Chuckles. That is my fake production company because I make people nervously chuckle all the time because they never know if I'm telling a joke or not. So they're always like, oh, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Is he serious? Is he insane? Did he get out of the loony? What's going on? So if I made you nervously chuckle, then that means that I did my job, and thank you. There is no funding for this podcast, but if you want to give me money, then yeah, hit me up. DM me. Bye-bye.